Imagine, for just a moment, the gentle light of dawn filtering through your window as you sit quietly with a cup of warm coffee in hand, trying to recall the name of a dear friend from years past. But instead of that name coming easily as it always has, there's a pause, a lingering silence where the word should be. That small hesitation grows into a quiet fear, a whisper in your heart that perhaps the sharpness of your mind is beginning to fade away, like the last leaves of autumn drifting from a tree. For many of us over 75, these memory lapses aren't just occasional slips. They can become shadows that dim the brightness of our daily lives, stealing the simple joys of conversation, the comfort of familiar routines, and the confidence that comes from knowing we can trust our own thoughts. It's a challenge that touches the soul, making us feel vulnerable in a world that moves so fast, leaving us wondering if we'll lose the stories that define who we are. But here's the hopeful truth. These lapses often stem from hidden triggers. Every day. Habits or oversights that we can identify and avoid. Today, in this heartfelt exploration, we're going to uncover 5 key memory lapse triggers that seniors over 75 must steer clear of to sharpen your mind and reclaim that mental clarity you deserve. These aren't just tips, they're pathways to renewal, offering transformative benefits like renewed focus, deeper peace, and the ability to hold on to precious memories with ease. By learning these, you'll gain the tools to protect your mind, turning potential regrets into stories of triumph. And to build that sense of urgency and excitement, stay with me until the very end, where I'll reveal the one trigger that catches most people by surprise, along with a simple, life-changing way to overcome it. This could be the key that unlocks years of vibrant thinking and emotional freedom. Don't miss it, as it holds the power to change everything. Face the fog of sleepless nights. Ah, the quiet torment of a restless night. Those hours when sleep eludes you and your mind races through. Worries like a river overflowing its banks. For seniors over 75, this lack of proper rest isn't just an inconvenience. It's a profound trigger that can cloud your memory like a thick fog rolling over a serene landscape, obscuring the paths you once knew so well. Think about it. As we age, our bodies naturally require consistent quality sleep to repair and rejuvenate. Yet factors like discomfort, medications, or even the subtle changes in our internal clocks can disrupt this essential rhythm. Without enough deep sleep, your brain struggles to process and store the day's experiences, leading to those frustrating moments where names, dates, or simple details slip away. The negative impact is deeply felt. It weighs heavy on your spirit, fostering a sense of isolation as you hesitate in conversations, fearing another lapse that might make you seem less capable. This can spiral into self-doubt, where each forgotten item feels like a loss, chipping away at the independence you've cherished for so long. But amidst this challenge, there lies a beautiful promise of healing. Good sleep acts as a gentle healer, washing away the mental clutter accumulated during the day, strengthening neural connections, and restoring your mind's natural sharpness. It's like tending to a garden after a storm. The soil revives and flowers bloom anew. By avoiding this trigger, you not only prevent further lapses, but also invite a wave of renewed energy, allowing you to engage fully with life, share stories with loved ones without hesitation, and wake each morning feeling empowered rather than exhausted. This insight isn't just practical, it's a life-changing truth that could save you from years of unnecessary sadness and frustration, paving the way for days filled with clarity and quiet confidence. Imagine the relief of knowing that with a few mindful adjustments, you can banish that fog and step into the light of a sharper mind. It's within your reach, and the transformation starts with understanding why sleep matters so deeply. Let me weave for you the tale of Robert, a gentle soul at 78 years old, residing in a quaint little town nestled among rolling hills, where the air always carried the scent of fresh pine. Robert had been the pillar of his family, a man whose memory was as reliable as the sunrise. He could recount every birthday, every milestone with vivid detail, bringing smiles to his children's faces during gatherings around the old oak table. But as the years crept on, his nights grew troubled. He'd lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, his mind a whirlwind of concerns about his aching joints or the well-being of his distant grandchildren. "Why won't sleep come to me?" he'd whisper into the darkness, his voice laced with quiet desperation as the clock ticked mercilessly onward. One fateful morning, during a simple breakfast with his daughter Emily, he reached for her son's name, little Tommy, but it vanished like smoke. "Dad, are you feeling all right?" Emily asked, her eyes filled. With a mix of love and worry, her hand gently touching his. That moment pierced Robert's heart like a thorn. A deep, aching sadness welled up inside him, making his chest tighten as he realized this wasn't just a one-time slip. The lapses began to multiply, keys misplaced in the most obvious spots, appointments, forgotten that he'd marked on his calendar with care, even recipes he'd cooked for decades now eluding him mid-preparation. He felt a growing isolation, withdrawing from social calls, fearing judgment or pity. "I'm losing myself," he confided to his mirror one evening, tears tracing lines down his weathered cheeks, the weight of potential regret pressing down like an unseen burden. But then, a turning point arrived during a visit from an old friend, Harold, who noticed Robert's weariness and shared his own struggles with sleep. Harold suggested a soothing routine, dimming the lights an hour before bed, avoiding screens and perhaps a warm cup of herbal tea to ease the mind. Skeptical at first, Robert decided to try it. What did he have to lose? Night after night, he followed the steps, breathing deeply as he settled under the covers, letting go of the day's tensions. Gradually, sleep embraced him like an old friend returning home. Weeks later, at another family breakfast, Robert recalled not just Tommy's name, but a funny anecdote from the boy's last visit, his voice steady and full of warmth. "I feel like the old me again," he told Emily, his eyes sparkling with renewed life as he pulled her into a heartfelt hug. The fog had lifted, revealing a landscape of clear memories and restored confidence. Robert's days brightened, filled with laughter and connection once more. This healing moment wasn't magic. It was the power of rest reclaiming what worry had tried to steal. To sidestep this trigger effectively, establish a peaceful bedtime routine that invites rest naturally. Begin by dimming the lights in your home about an hour before you plan to sleep, perhaps enjoying a warm, caffeine-free tea like chamomile, which has a calming effect many find soothing. Take a few deep breaths, inhaling slowly through your nose and exhaling through your mouth, releasing any lingering thoughts of the day. This simple practice not only signals to your body that it's time to wind down, but also reduces the mental clutter that leads to lapses, promoting a healing calm that sharpens your recall and eases the emotional strain of forgetfulness. You'll notice the difference in how refreshed you feel, ready to embrace the day with a clearer mind. Keep moving forward. You're stronger than you know. Now, with that foundation laid, let's gently shift our focus to another subtle yet powerful trigger that can entangle even the steadiest of minds. Break free from worry's grip. Worry, that insidious companion, can wrap around your thoughts like vines overtaking a once vibrant garden, slowly choking the life from your memory's blooms. For those of us past 75, life's accumulated experiences often bring a heavier load of concerns, be it health uncertainties, financial strains, or the well-being of loved ones far away, which heighten this trigger's impact. Chronic stress from these worries floods your system with tension, disrupting the brain's ability to form and retrieve memories effectively, leading to those disheartening lapses that make everyday tasks feel like uphill battles. The challenge here is profoundly emotional. It doesn't just affect recall, but erodes your inner peace, fostering a cycle of anxiety where each forgotten detail amplifies fear, potentially leading to withdrawal from social interactions and a deepening sense of regret over moments lost to distraction. Picture the weight of unspoken fears pressing down, dimming the light in your eyes and making you question your resilience. It's a quiet pain that many endure in silence. However, within this darkness blooms the potential for profound healing. By releasing worry's hold, you create space for tranquility, allowing your mind to function at its best, rebuilding those neural pathways with ease and grace. It's akin to pruning those overgrown vines. The garden breathes again, colors return, and growth flourishes. Avoiding this trigger empowers you to live in the present, savoring connections without the shadow of doubt, and transforming potential losses into opportunities for emotional renewal. This wisdom holds the urgency of a lifeline. Embracing it can spare you from the heartache of accumulated regrets, guiding you toward a future where your mind remains a trusted ally, sharp and serene, ready to hold on to life's treasures with unwavering strength. Consider the story of Patricia, an 82-year-old widow with a spirit as warm as the sun-kissed quilts she sewed by hand in her cozy cottage overlooking a peaceful meadow. Patricia had always been the heart of her community, her memory a treasure trove of family histories and neighborhood tales that she shared over afternoon teas with friends. But after her husband's passing, worries began to consume her. Fears about managing the home alone, concerns for her grandchildren's futures in a changing world, and nagging doubts about her own health. What if I forget something crucial, like paying a bill or calling the doctor? She'd murmur to herself in the still of the night, her brow furrowed as sleep evaded her once more. One crisp autumn afternoon, while strolling in the local park, with its rustling leaves underfoot, she encountered a familiar neighbor but drew a complete blank on their name, someone she'd known for decades. "Oh dear, it's gone," she thought, her heart pounding with a surge of panic, a cold wave of unease washing over her as she forced a smile to mask her confusion. This incident marked the beginning of a troubling pattern. Directions to the grocery store muddled, cherished recipes from her mother's cookbook eluding her mid-baking. Even birthdays slipping through the cracks despite her careful notes. The lapses brought a profound loneliness. Patricia started declining invitations, fearing embarrassment, her once lively home echoing with silence. "I miss the clarity I took for granted," she confessed tearfully to her sister Margaret during a rare phone call, her voice trembling with the weight of unspoken sorrow. Margaret, sensing the depth of her pain, gently suggested incorporating daily walks into her routine, not just for exercise, but as a time to breathe deeply and consciously let go of worries, focusing on the beauty around her. Patricia hesitated, but began the next day, stepping out into the fresh air, feeling the gentle breeze on her face as she whispered affirmations like, "Today, I release what I cannot control." At first, it felt awkward, but soon the walks became a sanctuary. Worries loosened their grip, replaced by a sense of calm that permeated her thoughts. "This is freeing me," she realized one evening, as memories began to resurface with ease. Names, dates, stories flowing like a refreshed stream. Months later, at a family gathering, Patricia recounted a long-forgotten adventure from her youth with vivid detail, her laughter ringing true and her eyes alight with joy. "I remember it all so clearly now," she beamed to her grandchildren, pulling them close in an embrace that spoke of healing and hope. The grip of worry had broken, allowing Patricia to bloom anew, her mind sharpened and her heart mended. To combat this trigger, commit to taking short, mindful walks each day, ideally in a familiar, peaceful setting like a nearby park or your own backyard. As you walk, focus on your breathing. Inhale the fresh air deeply, exhale slowly, and with each step, visualize releasing one worry at a time. This practice diminishes stress levels, clears mental fog, and fosters a healing environment for your memory to thrive. turning moments of anxiety into opportunities for rejuvenation and leading to noticeable improvements in recall and overall emotional well-being. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. With that empowering step in mind, let's proceed to uncover a trigger that often hides in plain sight, yet holds surprising power over our mental acuity. Quench the thirst that clouds thoughts. Dehydration, that silent saboteur, can parch your mind's vitality much like a relentless sun drying out a fertile field, leaving cracks where memories once flourished abundantly. As we reach 75 and beyond, our body's signals for thirst become subtler, often overlooked amid daily routines, leading to insufficient water intake that subtly impairs cognitive function. This trigger manifests in foggy thinking and increased lapses, where simple recollections, like where you placed your glasses or the details of a recent chat, evade you, creating frustration that builds over time. The negative toll is multifaceted. It not only hampers recall but also drains your energy, making you feel perpetually tired and less engaged with the world around you, potentially fostering a cycle of avoidance and regret as social interactions suffer. Envision the quiet disappointment of missing out on lively discussions because your mind feels sluggish, a shadow that dims the vibrancy of your golden years. Yet, in this arid challenge blooms the oasis of healing through hydration. Water is the essence of life for your brain, facilitating the flow of nutrients and oxygen, clearing toxins, and maintaining the electrical impulses that underpin memory. By quenching this thirst proactively, you restore balance, sharpening focus, and preventing those avoidable slips that erode confidence. This solution carries an urgent call. It's a simple act with profound results, capable of averting years of unnecessary struggle and infusing your days with renewed clarity and vitality, allowing you to navigate life with the assurance that your mind is well-nourished and resilient. Reflect on the journey of James, a 76-year-old retired teacher whose home library was a sanctuary of knowledge, walls lined with books that held the echoes of lessons he'd imparted over 4 decades in a bustling schoolhouse. James prided himself on his encyclopedic recall, able to quote passages from classics or recall student names from years ago with effortless precision. However, in his quiet retirement, he often immersed himself in reading marathons, forgetting to pause for basic needs like drinking water, dismissing a dry throat as mere distraction. "I'm perfectly fine. Just one more chapter," he'd tell himself, pushing through the subtle signs of dehydration that crept in unnoticed. One evening, gathered with old colleagues for a nostalgic dinner, James attempted to share a beloved anecdote from his teaching days, but the words faltered. The key details evaporated mid-sentence. "What's happening to me?" he pondered inwardly, a sharp pang of unease gripping his chest as awkward silence filled the table, his friends exchanging concerned glances. This lapse was the harbinger of more. Medications forgotten on the counter, conversations with his son where names and events blurred, even his favorite author's titles slipping away during solitary reflections. The accumulation bred a deep-seated frustration. James began avoiding outings, his once social life contracting into isolation, nights filled with self-reproach. "I hate this mental haze. It's robbing me of my essence," he admitted softly to his son during a weekend visit, his voice heavy with emotion, eyes downcast in defeat. His son, moved by the vulnerability, recommended a straightforward habit, keeping a water bottle within arm's reach and sipping from it regularly throughout the day, perhaps setting gentle reminders like associating it with mealtimes. James embraced the change, placing a colorful bottle on his reading table, taking deliberate sips as he turned pages. "It's like a refreshing rain on parched earth," he felt after just a few days, as the fog began to dissipate and memories resurfaced with clarity. Soon, at another gathering, James regaled his friends with stories in full, vibrant detail, his laughter genuine and his confidence restored. "I'm back to my sharp self," he proclaimed with a broad smile, toasting to health with a glass of water. The thirst had been quenched, revitalizing his mind and rekindling the joy of connection that had nearly faded. Maintain hydration by keeping a water bottle nearby at all times and aiming to sip small amounts frequently, perhaps every hour or so, rather than waiting for thirst to strike. This steady intake supports brain function, prevents the clouding of thoughts, and promotes a healing process that enhances memory retention, leading to fewer lapses and a more vibrant, engaged life. Now, building on this refreshing insight, let's examine a trigger rooted in our physical habits that can unexpectedly blunt our mental edge. Move away from stillness that dulls the mind. Prolonged sitting, that deceptive comfort, can stagnate your mental waters like a pond deprived of fresh currents, allowing sediment to settle and obscure the depths of your memory. In our later years, after 75, it's tempting to embrace more sedentary routines, perhaps lingering in a favorite chair with a good book or watching the world from a window, yet this lack of movement reduces blood flow to the brain, a vital stream that carries oxygen and nutrients essential for cognitive sharpness. The resulting lapses emerge as forgotten intentions or misplaced items, chipping away at your sense of control and fostering a subtle despair that life is becoming harder to navigate. This stillness's challenge pierces emotionally, limiting the richness of daily experiences and breeding regrets over untaken steps that could have preserved vitality. Imagine the quiet ache of feeling your world shrink, conversations avoided for fear of fumbling words, a shadow over the independence you've built. But herein lies the path to healing. Gentle movement revives the flow, stimulating brain activity and forging stronger memory connections, much like stirring a still pond to reveal its clear beauty beneath. By evading this trigger, you infuse your days with energy, banishing dullness and welcoming a renewed sense of purpose that could prevent the heartache of decline, offering instead a future brimming with active, joyful recollection. Meet Linda, an 80-year-old artist whose studio apartment brimmed with canvases capturing the essence of sunsets and blooming gardens, each stroke a testament to her lifelong passion born in the vibrant art scenes of her youth. Linda's memory had been her greatest tool, recalling color palettes and techniques with the precision of a master craftsman. However, as minor aches encouraged longer hours seated at her easel, she found herself moving less, rationalizing it as necessary rest. "Just a little more time here. My legs need the break," she'd say, ignoring the creeping lethargy. One afternoon, mid-painting, she blanked on a fundamental mix for her signature shade of blue, a formula etched in her mind for decades. "My own creation, forgotten?" She gasped internally, a wave of disbelief and sorrow crashing over her, blurring the canvas with unshed tears. The lapses escalated. Calls to galleries unreturned because dates escaped her, errands abandoned halfway due to disorientation, even cherished memories of art trips with friends fading into haze. This erosion led to withdrawal. Linda's brushes lay idle more often, her spirit dimmed by the fear of permanent loss. "Art was my lifeline, now it's slipping away," she whispered emotionally to her niece Clara during a visit, her hands trembling as she gestured to the unfinished works. Clara, heartbroken by the change, proposed incorporating light stretches and short walks into Linda's daily rhythm, starting small to build habit without overwhelm. Linda agreed, beginning with gentle arm circles and leg lifts from her chair, progressing to brief strolls around the block where she absorbed the colors of nature anew. "This movement is awakening something inside," she observed after weeks. As clarity returned, colors vivid in her mind, techniques flowing effortlessly. Her next exhibition piece came alive with detail, and at the opening, Linda shared inspirations with guests flawlessly, her pride radiant. "I create with a sharp mind once more," she told Clara, embracing her with gratitude. The stillness had been banished, allowing Linda's artistic soul to soar freely again. Incorporate light activities such as short walks around your home or gentle stretches while seated, aiming for at least 10-15 minutes a few times daily. These movements enhance circulation, combat mental dullness, and support healing by bolstering memory function, resulting in fewer lapses and a more dynamic, fulfilling existence. If these words resonate with you, please comment number 4 below to show your support. As we approach the culmination of our exploration, let's delve into the final trigger, one that tugs at the very fabric of our human connections. Step out of loneliness that fades memories. Loneliness, that echoing void, can dim your mind's luminance like a solitary candle flickering in a vast, empty hall, gradually weakening the flames of recollection. For seniors over 75, the natural ebb of social circles, through loss, relocation, or changing dynamics, can foster isolation, depriving the brain of stimulating interactions that reinforce memory pathways. This trigger breeds lapses in conversations or forgotten shared histories, amplifying a profound ache of disconnection that erodes joy and breeds regret over unspoken words. The emotional wound runs deep, turning vibrant lives inward, where solitude magnifies doubts and dims purpose. Yet the healing antidote is connection, reigniting mental sparks through dialogue and shared experiences, fortifying recall like adding fuel to a warming fire. By stepping away from this isolation, you weave threads of support, preventing fade and embracing a tapestry of enriched memories that could avert years of silent suffering, gifting instead a legacy of warmth and sharpness. Recall William, a 79-year-old veteran whose modest home was adorned with medals and photos from his service days, each item a portal to tales of camaraderie and courage that he loved recounting to anyone who listened. William's memory was his archive, preserving battles won and friendships forged with unerring accuracy. But after his wife's passing, he retreated into solitude, days blending into quiet routines without the echo of voices. No one left to share these stories with, he'd think melancholically, gazing at faded pictures. One morning, attempting to recall a comrade's name during a solitary reflection, it eluded him entirely. It's vanishing, he feared, a heavy sorrow constricting his throat, tears welling as isolation's grip tightened. Lapses proliferated, dates of significant events blurred, phone calls to family halted mid-sentence, even daily routines disrupted by forgetfulness. The emptiness grew unbearable, nights stretched endlessly with regrets. "I need the sound of life around me," he finally voiced to his daughter Sarah over a tentative call, his tone laced with vulnerability. Sarah suggested joining a local veterans group for weekly meetings, a space to connect and share. William attended hesitantly, but as stories flowed among peers, he felt a spark. "This revives the past," he smiled inwardly. Memories surged back. Detailed and alive, conversations flourished. "I'm connected again," he told Sarah, his hug conveying profound gratitude. Loneliness dissolved, replaced by bonds that sharpened his mind and heart. Reach out by calling a friend or family member weekly, or consider joining a community group for regular interactions. These connections combat fade, keeping your mind engaged and memories robust, fostering healing and preventing the emotional toll of isolation. As we draw this journey to a close, let's warmly revisit the 5 triggers we've explored. The enveloping fog of sleepless nights that clouds our thoughts, the tightening grip of worry that steals our peace, the parching thirst that dulls our clarity, the stagnant stillness that mutes our vitality, and the echoing loneliness that fades our connections. Each one, when avoided, unlocks the profound power to sharpen your mind, healing old wounds and promising years of joy, confidence, and cherished memories ahead. You possess the inner strength to implement these changes, transforming vulnerabilities into sources of triumph and resilience. Take a quiet moment to reflect. Which trigger resonates most with you, and what small step will you take today to address it? Share your thoughts or a personal story in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. If this video has touched your heart or sparked a light of hope, please like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who might need this wisdom right now. Your action could brighten their path. Let your wisdom light the way.